Welcome to the source. The source. Source.
Yeah.
Hey, get the source.
Good evening. Good evening, all. Hope you're all enjoying your Thursdays. What's the MLB doing? Saw the Blue Jays are up 2-0. Braves beating the teeth in of the Reds. Wanted those Reds, man. I didn't place any MLB bets. I thought about a bunch. I actually kind of like the Blue Jays, but I didn't place any yet. Kind of like the Toast Pirates pick. I thought that was sneaky. We got football on tonight, though. So, yeah, we'll see. We're supposed to do WNBA first. So, 4 o'clock, we're starting the NFL. So, we'll see if Chris makes it. I think I forgot to text him, but I tagged him in a tweet. So, we'll see if he saw it or not. What's up? What do you guys want to talk about beforehand? All 94 of you in here. We're rocking. 94 people. Anyone but Helms, please. Anyone else have a question? Helms admits that he thinks his own favorite team, the Raiders, are going to take an L to the Panthers this week. Can we talk about Prop Beaver? What about him? What about him? Yeah. Would you like to? Can we talk about him? Can we talk about him? Are you concerned with him?
I'm here.
Yeah, he's right here. Yo, you need to get a restraining order on that guy.
Nah, that homie with the big feet. I love that homie with the big feet. A true ride or die.
What do you think about the under in Jets Pats? Crazy enough. This doesn't even make sense, but I think it's going to go over the total. I think the Jets are going to score. It's tough to make a prediction. I don't know if you watched the videos I uploaded, but with all the injuries to the Patriots offensive line and what we've seen from the Jets defensive front, I feel like trying to predict whether or not the Patriots are going to run the ball in this game is the most coin flip shit I've ever. I have no idea. Patriots are putting out a shell of a broken offensive line on the road in MetLife. So part of me is like, they're not going to get a single first down. But the Jets defense has been pretty underwhelming. So I don't know. Does Goff get his head out of the clouds this week? This week?
Chris says to send the link, Kyle.
Oh, my God.
Did
Did I not send him the link?
Yeah.
That explains it, huh?
Yeah, hard to talk about WNBA when
it's going to be tough for him to join without the link. Okay, so yeah, he's right. I did not send him the link. So this one's on me, guys. This one's on me. Sharp money coming in on the Pats. Got to assume the Jets are the public side. I mean, yeah, I would imagine the casual bettor is going to prefer Aaron Rodgers and the Jets over a Patriots team that they can only name 2 players on. I would assume that would be the public side, but I really don't know. I put my entire year's bankroll on the Jets tonight. That's
homie. That's mighty irresponsible.
The whole year. It's all riding on tonight.
You know, we haven't beat the Patriots.
Now, he took
less cover the spread against them.
He took an alt line, Jets plus 14.5.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Jets haven't beat the Pats at home since 2015.
Who cares, though?
We're different.
Who cares about like the Jets versus the Patriots in 2006?
No, we're different. We're different, man.
No correlation. How do I join the Discord? Just go to KyleKirms.com. If you want to get in the betting league, you got 2 hours. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 hours and 10 minutes to get in on this week. A new week starts every Thursday. So I'm repeating that over and over again because people complained that I didn't announce it enough. And if you miss Thursday, if you don't get a pick submitted in for Thursday, you start -1 unit on the week. So there was a lot of people that started on Friday -1 unit that were unhappy that I didn't announce it enough. So this is me announcing it. You got to get it in by 7 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, and by the way, that's like, you don't have to do the league. I wasn't saying like, you better get it in. I'm saying if you want to participate in it and go after one of these guys, you got to get it in. There's Chris. Here I was making it seem like you weren't showing up and I didn't send you the link. I suppose that's on me, isn't it? Can you hear me, Chris? I hear you. You can't hear me? Hello? I hear him.
I don't hear him.
You don't hear
You
him?
hear me? I can't hear you.
I hear you.
Let me leave and come right back.
All right.
I can't hear you.
You couldn't hear him?
Nope.
Oh, I heard him just fine. King James, Lions offense and defense look good, but Jesus, Golf, what the fuck? I mean, that's a pretty accurate representation. I mean, I wouldn't know. I didn't watch film on like the route running and all that, but as far as the Lions offensive line, they're not allowing a ton of pressure. They're generating push in the run game. The RBs look good. Gibbs looks explosive. Montgomery, I mean, yeah, I would agree with that everything looks good except Goff so far. But like I said, I mean, I wouldn't really know. Sometimes like we're quick to blame the quarterback, and sometimes the receivers are off time. Like there's other aspects that we might not necessarily see. But I would agree that that's how it looks for sure. Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Live and
Nah,
good.
see, even
Let's
the
go.
comments
Live and
are saying
good.
he's
Live
muted.
and good. All right, we got 5
No,
WNBA.
see, I can't hear him, and neither can the people. I mean, they're saying Chris Be muted. I can't hear him.
Really?
No, they can hear him. I can see his audio bar moving on the stream.
It was moving when I checked it.
Yeah, they can hear you. You must have him muted on your thing, Prop Beaver. In the OBS Ninja, you probably have him muted.
No, I don't.
Go to the settings on OBS Ninja real quick. Go back to that. Go to the settings. Down. Audio output or audio output.
Yep, the things that I use every day.
Yeah, you must have switched it. All right, anyway,
All right. Well,
we got Dream on the road at Liberty. Short line here. The Liberty resting people?
You know what, Gal? Sandy Brondello didn't put anybody on the injury report, but you know it can pop up. They got the #1 spot secured already. Dream win the game, and they are in the playoffs, and they'll end up playing the same exact matchup because this will be the first round matchup. So they just got to win. That's why you see such a short line. You know, just to put this out over all 5 games, there's a lot of teams that's not playing for anything. It's the last game of the season. All but 3 teams are pretty much locked into their seeds. The Connecticut Sun and Vegas could potentially swap the 3-4 seed, but everything else is pretty much locked in. It's just a 3-way tie for the last spot. So I didn't play this game because I think the Liberty's bench is good enough to beat this Atlanta Dream team. But it wouldn't surprise me if Atlanta was able to get a win. I'm just not sure how much they care. We always look for motivation. I can't gauge the motivation of the New York Liberty on whether or not they want to do the Atlanta Dream dirty and not let it be them and potentially be the Mystics. So I stayed off of the game, but I mean, I'm only looking towards the team that needs to get into the playoffs in the spot. So it'd be dream or pass for me here.
Is there something to and look, I don't follow the WNBA that closely, but wouldn't it be in New York's best interest to beat Atlanta to lose to Atlanta to avoid playing Washington, the much hotter team?
Yeah, but Washington would also have to win. Washington would have to win, and Atlanta would have to win. They can't control that, right?
Well, no,
So,
if they lose on purpose, they can control it. They won't play Washington.
Right. I'm saying, but Washington would have to win too, because then it gets real tricky. Because the Sun, not the Sun. The Sky can also still make the playoffs if both teams lose. So,
wow. All right. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
it gets
moving
really tricky.
pieces here.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Fever, which I'm assuming they're one of the teams that are locked in against
Mystics.
The Mystics. Oh, the Mystics are playing for something. So
Yeah,
I would
Mystics are playing for
assume.
something.
Okay, so Washington is playing for something. Indiana is not.
I played them because they're playing for something here. Indiana locked into the 6 seed. Mystics coming off back-to-back losses. They need this and a loss from the game that we just talked about from the Atlanta Dream. And I could see that potentially happening here. Fever defense hasn't been great recently. They're 11th rated defensive team over the last 5 games, and you really have nothing to play for. So I think we get, max motivation, max effort. If it was something that I was going to add, it probably would be first half. I'm not sure why I didn't play that because, we talk about it. It's been the most profitable trend throughout the full season. I think this game also goes up and over the total. The Fever are not going to play defense. They're only 8-11 on the road on the season. So, and most of it's been because of their defense. So I think we get a very lively effort from the Mystics to potentially get them into the playoffs and go into New York, which is where they played last year in the first round. So I did play Mystics on the money line here.
Oh, someone said in the comments that the Liberty could potentially set the franchise record for most wins in a season if they win today. So maybe
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, that's what Holmes said in the comments. But Holmes is also escaped from a mental ward, so I have no idea.
Helm's pretty sharp. Helm's a pretty sharp guy, man.
I have no idea if that's accurate or not. I wouldn't put it past him to just type some fake shit into the comments. So all right, let's move on to the next game. Chicago, Connecticut, 14, which seems a little high because Chicago's playing to get into the playoffs and Connecticut ain't playing for shit, right?
I took it. I got out ahead of myself. I took it at 13 yesterday, thinking that it would come down. Kennedy Carter got ruled questionable. She didn't play in the last game in Atlanta. And Cardosa, I don't know if she's gonna play or not. I just think, bottom line, what you said, right? Like Teresa Weatherspoons, they're not gonna just roll over and play dead. And the other thing is, Coach Stephanie White, the coach of the Connecticut Sun, she hasn't decided whether she's gonna rest any of her players yet. So there's potential for those players to, even if they do play, I don't think they play the full game because the Aces, who are the only team that could catch Connecticut for the 3rd seed, they would flip-flop 3rd and 4th. They've already decided the list of all of their starters are going to rest tonight. So, Connecticut has nothing to play for. Even if Coach White doesn't play her starters, even if she doesn't rest them, there's potential that they couldn't play in the second half, just to get ready. And this is an older Connecticut Sun team. Alyssa Thomas has been in the league for forever. DeWanna Bond has been in the league for forever. So I could see them kind of, just taking it a little easy in this game. And even if they don't, 14 is a big number. They don't even typically cover as double-digit favorites because their offense is so terrible anyway. So I think they can hang with them. I did take Chicago plus the points here.
Money line?
Nah, that's a Cal bet.
No, I'm just saying they're playing for something. Connecticut doesn't give a shit.
I would need Cardosa, and Connecticut probably could beat the Chicago Sky team with their eyes closed. Honestly, I think they've won 3 games since
the Olympics. Is Dejanay playing?
She is right now, anyway, because we still have yet to see. And the other thing I want to mention this, Kyle, because you mentioned Dejanay. Right before the Olympic break, Alyssa Thomas was ruled out for rest. And nobody knew. It was 10 minutes before the game. They should have been fine because I think I was on them in that spot. Or I was trying to fade the Liberty or something. And she ended up resting her right before. So I could definitely see, Stephanie White doing that again. And she did mention in her post-game interview after the loss to the Lynx on Tuesday, she did mention not running her players into the ground. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to play the whole game.
So apparently the Sun can still drop to the 4 seed potentially.
If they lose and the Aces win, which the Aces have already ruled out, they're doubtful. They're not going to play. All of their players are already listed as doubtful. So the Aces don't care about the moving up to the 3rd seed and playing. They're cool.
They'd rather play Seattle than Indiana anyway. They've
already beaten. They swept Indiana, but they beat Seattle 3 to 4 times as well. So
they're good.
Asia Wilson came out and said we don't care who we play. We'll just turn it on when we need to. So
yeah. Speaking of Seattle on the road to Phoenix. Seattle laying 1.5 points. Seattle's nothing to play for whatsoever. And
neither one of these teams.
No, this is a meaningless game. So you want to just skip it?
Yeah, we can skip it. Yeah.
Okay. And
I didn't bet it either.
Dallas on the road at Vegas. You just said Las Vegas is resting everybody, which is why Dallas is laying 3. But Dallas is eliminated also. So what are we?
Nothing.
Yeah. So
at 8.5 for the Aces. Just to show you how much that whole starting lineup means. They were 8.5 point favorites yesterday at this time. The news came out that they were resting 4 of their starters, and they're a 3-point dog. So yeah, I'm not putting my money on the Wings though.
Yeah,
I will feel terrible about myself losing a bet on the last regular season game because I bet on the Wings. So
laying on the road.
Yeah, absolutely not. As a favorite, nah, not for my money. So I stayed off of this one too.
So based on what you said, I would say Washington money line or Chicago plus the points would be the way to go if you're looking to place.
Those are the two that I played, and I also think Atlanta probably gets the win. I just don't feel confident enough. I may live bet it, but I'll see what Coach Sonny Bardello does. I will be locked in trying to watch most of these games at the same time here.
Cool. All right, Chris. Talk soon, man. Enjoy your
Appreciate
night.
you. Best of luck.
All right. We'll talk NFL football. Prop Beaver joins us to talk about his Jets. Go ahead and
team, man.
switch the poll up and all that. So I'm sure most of you are aware that the Patriots play the Jets on Thursday Night Football tonight. I still haven't placed the bet yet, but it would be Jets -6 for me. But it's really, really tough. The current situation of the Patriots offensive line is it's shitty. It's not only shitty on like, oh, there's a lot of injuries, but it's also shitty in the aspect of how do we make a prediction based on that? It's because it's not like the Jets defensive front have looked good. Jordan Mason ran all over the Jets in that game in the opener, and the Patriots have been running the ball a little bit. Now, part of me, if I was to come to a logical conclusion here, I would say the Patriots have been running the ball because they played Seattle and Denver, two terrible run defenses last year. That's why we've seen such a jump in production from the Patriots rushing attack. And now, with this battered offensive line on the road in MetLife, the run game should disappear, and Jacoby Brissett is going to be in some trouble trying to make plays with his arm. So that's what my logical brain says will happen. That the Patriots offense won't be able to do shit in this game. I don't know what to really think about the Jets defense right now. And Proppy will tell you, as a Jets fan, I don't even know how optimistic he is about the defense. I mean, do you believe in this Jets defense still?
I'm sorry. I was looking at the comments of a guy saying Toast is absolute garbage, and Toast replying, yeah, Toast is garbage. Do I believe in this Jets defense still? I don't think it's going to be as elite as last year, folks. I mean, the Jets defenses tend to fall off on a year-to-year basis. I mean, they are much more volatile than offenses, whether it be due to injury, personnel change, multiple different factors, and it is hard for elite defenses to remain elite. The Jets defense was able to remain elite last year after being so dominant in the 2022 season, and yeah, thus far we're seeing a little bit of a fall off. Why? The pass rush. I mean, we lost so many guys going into this offseason, and we thought we were going to be able to replace them with Hassan Reddick and with Jermaine Johnson taking that next step. Well, guess what? Hassan Reddick hasn't stepped on the field. Jermaine Johnson just tore his Achilles, and now we just don't have the pieces that made this a top 10 pass rush. Honestly, in its current state, this may not even be a top 20 pass rush. So, yeah, I don't really know if the Jets' defense is going to be what it was last year.
Could I interject on that? Because I was thinking this last night when we were talking about this game. So what you just said, you said, I'm not sure if I would even rank the Jets without Jermaine Johnson and Reddick on the field. I'm not sure if I would rank them as a top 20 pass rush. And I'm with that. I think that's fair. But does that really matter in this game? Because number one, the Patriots offensive line. Number two, Jacoby Brissett's best quality is how he handles pressure. It's not like, oh no, Jacoby Brissett's going to have a clean pocket. Do we really give a shit?
Oh, no.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost like this is the perfect team to play without a pass rush because you're not scared of giving Jacoby Brissett a pocket and letting him try to throw to Jalen Polk, being covered by Sauce Gardner. If anything, you're like, yeah, we'll live with that, right? That's kind of how I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in terms of this game, what I wind up getting to on a prop is Ramondre Stevenson over 2.5 receptions. Want to go ahead and shop that line. I would play, honestly, I know a lot of people don't really like drinking juice on their props. I would play that up to -150. I got that at -135 on ESPN bet. I really like the look in this one. I know the fear heading into the season was with the signing of Gibson, being that Stevenson was going to lose his role a bit in the receiving game, but it's actually been the opposite thus far. The production hasn't really told the story, but his route participation has grown 32% thus far, going from 51 to 83%. That is a massive jump. On top of that, we're seeing his snap share go from 62% to 75% thus far. If we're looking at snap share, I mean, he was a guy who split his backfield with Damian Harris most of the time. And then last year, that bum Zeke Elliott. If we look at Stevenson with a 59% plus snap share, he's over his last 15 of 20 games, averaging 4.4. If we look at what a 67% plus snap share, this is a guy over his last 11 of 13 games, averaging 4.6. And now he's facing a Jets defense that is just the perfect matchup for running back reception due to their insane secondary. I mean, let's just look at the matchups tonight. Polk on Gardner, yeesh. DJ Reed on KJ Osborne, yeesh. Michael Carter Jr. on Demario Douglas, Jesus. I mean, that is tough. There's a reason the Jets allowed the 6th most yards per game, 4th most targets, and sat 26 in DVA against running backs through the air last season. The 49ers didn't need to pass to the running backs much in week 1 because they got whatever they wanted on the ground. But look at what happened in week 2. The Titans running back duo of Spears and Pollard saw 8 targets and translated that into 7 receptions through the air. And I think Kyle mentioned it. I mean, Brissett is likely going to have to dump the ball off a bit more here due to the state of New England's offensive line. I mean, 3, if not 4 starters for the Pats are out here. That should increase the amount of pressure that Brissett's under. On top of that, what I like here is the fact that Pats have not really trailed much in their first 2 games. I mean, for a team that's supposed to be really bad this year, they've really either kept it close, been tied, or led for most of their 2 games. As a 6-point dog here, if they're trailing, we should see an uptick in pass attempts and therefore an uptick in targets. I think the icing on the cake here is the history for Stevenson. Before the last game against the Jets, where he only had 1 reception, look at the first 2 matchups, 6 and 7 receptions in those games. So, yeah, I really like Stevenson here. If you're getting juiced out like Hef is at minus 155, yeah, that really sucks. I'm sorry. Wouldn't play at minus 155 or greater. But, yeah, I do like Stevenson minus 150 or anything lower than that. Really, really do.
Yeah, I like that. It kind of fits into how I think that side of the ball is going to look. Like, I think the Jets pass rush will be disappointing. And despite seeing a shitty Patriots offensive line, I still think Jacoby Brissett's going to have time to throw. And what's that going to result in? The Patriots' young receiving core getting blanketed by the Jets secondary and him checking down. So that actually fits into exactly how I think the game's going to look on that side of the ball also. So I do like that. You can put Jets -6 up for me.
Okay.
And look, on the other side of the ball, I mentioned, we just talked about not the Atlanta Dream. I'm on the Jets.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what the
I'm good on the Dream.
Yeah, not a big Dream guy.
So, yeah. Like I said, didn't place this bet. Probably will right after the show, just so I have some action down. Not crazy about it. Now, as far as the Jets offense, I kind of think this is a sell high point on the Patriots defense. I think we're getting a little skewed based on 2 things. 1, the Patriots defense last year, and 2, what happened in week 1 against Cincinnati. And I think those 2 instances are those 2 data points, and I realize last season is a pretty big data point. It's an entire season, but are skewing what I think this Patriots defense is. I do not think it's the Patriots defense of last year. I think the Jets are going to be able to move the football. This Jets offense just hasn't had a ton of possessions. It hasn't looked quite that bad. They've been in low-scoring games because the clock's been continuously running in these games, and I like this to be the first time we see Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson connect on prime time. Good for the NFL. If you asked me to pick a score for this game, I would say 27-6 Jets. I think the Jets win comfortably, honestly, and I think the Jets offense hums. Now, the question marks on the other side of the ball are keeping me from placing the bet, but I really like the Jets offense to make some plays. I like Garrett Wilson to go over 100 yards. That's how I see the flow of this game going.
Okay,
personally.
wow. So Yahtzee asked, what do y'all think about Stevenson over 17.5 carries? My book has it at +110. He had 21 and 25 in his first 2 games. I think that's a personal question to you. Obviously, they have it the high because of the ridiculous carries the first 2 games, but you got to keep in mind, those were 2 very competitive games. This is a game on the road here. The books have this as a 6-point spread. So obviously, they think that this game potentially could get out of handle here. If the Patriots do start trailing a bit, they may not be able to lean on the run here. So obviously, if they're not able to lean on the run, then they're not going to be giving as many attempts. So if you believe that the Patriots can keep this one competitive, then maybe you lean towards that over at that plus price. If you don't think so, then maybe you stay off. So that would be up to you, of course.
17.5.
It's a lot of goddamn carries, man.
Right, and these two teams, that's why, because I actually think it's going to be an over game in terms of the Jets are going to score, but I couldn't bet the over because these two teams have just been playing these games where the game ends and both offenses have had like 5-6 possessions. They're just, the clock just continuously rolls in these two team games so far. That's why you look at the Patriots defense. I was talking about this in the video I uploaded. If you look at the Patriots defense, it's like, oh shit, they're allowing 15 points a game. And then if you actually look at some of their advanced defensive metrics, they're like 16th in EPA per drop back, like 17th in EPA. They're not as good because allowing 15 points per game isn't as impressive if your opponent only had 5 possessions. That's a field goal possession. That's really not even great. Mm-hmm. So it's tough to take an over when these two teams have played very under-looking games so far. So,
yep. And then Adam Wood said, I like Henry over 3.5 reception plus 100 on DK. That was another way I looked if you want to attack this Patriots offense. I mean, I just don't think they're going to be able to get it to the receiver, simply put. Yeah. And then Ben Gray, that was a funny comment about Zoolander. Regarding the Eagles-Saints game, I mean, why don't you lead the charge, boss, Mr. Philly himself?
Birds. I decide what my top bets are on Sunday morning. Because I do that for a reason, because everyone's placing their bets on Sunday morning for the most part, and so I tell you what my top bets would be if I was placing all my bets at that moment. Obviously, if this line swings back to Eagles -3, just throwing a crazy hypothetical, then they wouldn't be a top bet of mine. But as of right now, I think this is my favorite NFL bet of the weekend. Love the Birds here. Like them to win outright. This is, I'm sure you've heard it ad nauseum now that this is an overreaction, but I mean, this is crazy. The complete shift in as far as the market, as far as the Saints market. Last week, I said in my video that I like the over in Saints Dallas because I thought Derek Carr would make plays in the Cowboys defense and I thought the Saints would put up points. Didn't even take the Saints. Just said I like the over because I thought the Saints were going to score. I got ridiculed in the comments. I was a moron for thinking the Saints could score on the Cowboys and the Saints could cover a 6.5 point line with the Cowboys. People were like, what? Are you crazy? This guy's an idiot. Now I'm an idiot for taking the Eagles +3, a team that we all had first or second in the NFC. By the way, what do we think this line would be if Saquon Barkley catches that ball, AJ? What do you think this line is if Saquon Barkley catches that ball and the Eagles win? They're sitting at 2-0. With wins over the Falcons and Packers. I think that one drop pass shifted this line a point or two, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, going into the game, weren't they favored? So I guess
they were laying 2.5 originally.
I think the line would say the same, right?
Nah, I mean, there was definitely a reaction to the Saints over the Cowboys, 100%. There's a reaction to that.
Yeah, but if heading into the game, right, the Saints Cowboys game had already happened, and the line.
No. I think the look ahead line was Eagles -2.5 before both games, I believe.
Okay. Because what I'm, I guess, misinterpreting here, right, is that I thought I had looked at this on Monday after the Saints-Cowboys and before the Eagles-Saints. I mean, before the Eagles-Falcons, and I thought it was still like -2.5 or -1.5 for the Eagles.
I mean, I'm not sure. But I'm saying when people say the look-ahead line, what they mean is before last week's games.
Basically the opening.
Yes.
Okay.
So the look-ahead line was Eagles -2.5. And maybe books were opening up. It's in between there at some point. But the look-ahead line was Eagles -2.5. And some of the movement is also, I mean, maybe most of it was accredited to the Saints' performance as much as the Eagles' loss. But the fact is, if we look at the Eagles games, right? They lost to the Falcons, and you look at how that game went. You look at the box score. You look at Kirk Cousins' numbers, and you're like, oh, Kirk Cousins had a good day. Let's transition to an alternate universe where Saquon Barkley made that catch. Kirk Cousins threw for 170 yards. The Eagles won their second game in a row over two teams that might be in the playoffs. There's no way we're getting this number if Saquon Barkley. Like I don't see how the entire market shifts based on one dropped pass. Look, no question, the Saints are much better with Kubiak, but that's another thing. I mean, both the defenses the Saints have seen so far are kind of similar. Obviously, the Cowboys are better than the Panthers, but both run a ton of zone coverage. Now they're seeing Vic Fangio, who's going to run a ton of man coverage. Not saying the Eagles are good by any means, but it's a change of pace. They're going to be thrown against their first man-heavy defense of the year. Is it crazy to think Derek Carr starts making mistakes again? This whole thing feels like such a wild overreaction. And I got the Eagles at +3. I'm very comfortable on it. Like I said, I think this is, as of right now, my favorite NFL ticket that I have open is Eagles +3. I also have a Panthers +7.
Yeah, you also got me on that Panthers +7.
I mean, they announced Dalton, and I was like, I don't think these 7s are going to hang, dude. We should get it.
Yeah.
And it dropped. So
I mean,
we'll see if it pans out. But
I mean, I told you that the red rifle was firing buckshots this week, and I fully believe in that.
Yeah.
So we're on the Panthers at the +7. But regarding this game, a game that we're actually talking about, you kind of, I wanted to really burrow in and go in on the fact that I do believe in Clint Kubiak. I do believe the fact that the Saints offense is going to light up that sorry-ass Eagles defense that I think is truly piss. I want to stand 10 toes down on that, but at the same time, I also am a bit worried about the Saints defense, and I do think you have some really valid points about the fact that Saints rush defense is bad. I was super suspect about it going into the season, and I just don't think they've had the chance to be really exploited yet going against a Cowboys rush attack that, I mean, we've memed and clowned going into the season, and then the Panthers, who didn't really have a chance to establish a rush attack because they were behind 28 points in the blink of an eye. This game, I think they are going to get exposed badly, and the main guy who I really think is going to expose them here is Jalen Hurts. I know that rifles don't shoot buckshots. Relax.
that was an awesome comment.
Okay.
Rifles don't shoot
I'm
buckshots.
aware. Jesus Christ. Okay, so but we got Jalen. I'm going with Jalen Hurts over 39.5 rush yards. And this guy's under the mark his last 18 of 24 games, averaging 37 yards. So why am I trying to take an over of something that's under 75% of its last 24 opportunities? Well, I think we need some context here. Hurts has averaged just 8.8 rush attempts per game through his last 18 opportunities, but through 18 opportunities last season, but through 2 games this season, the guy's had 13 rush attempts in each. That is a lot right there. With 10-plus rush attempts, Hurts is over his last 17 of 25 games overall, averaging 61 rush yards per game, and his last 8 of 10 on the road, averaging 63 since 2021. If we bump that up to 13 rush attempts per game, Hurts has been a moneymaker. 13-2 since 2021, averaging 72 rush yards per game. And on top of that, A.J. Brown is out again for this game. And look at the splits with and without A.J. Brown. With A.J. Brown since 2021, 12 and 24 to the over, just a 33% hit rate. But without A.J. Brown, he's 12 and 6 to the over. That's a 66% hit rate. On top of that, now defenses can't really hone in on Hurts. You got the threat of Saquon Barkley, too. And Hurts now faces a Saints defense that was extremely susceptible to allowing QB rushing yards and scrambles last year. And they didn't even really face top-tier dual threats. I mean, they allowed the 4th most rush yards per game, most rush yards per carry. They allowed 44 rush yards to Josh Dobbs, 30 to Ritter, 70 to Tyson Bagent, 31 to Mayfield, 39 to Jordan Love, 34 and 40 to Bryce Young, and 36 to Tommy DeVito, allowing all of them to cash their QB overs and flirt with this number. Meanwhile, none of these guys have the rushing prowess Hurts possessed. This line actually dropped from 43.5 to 41.5 on a few books, so I think we could wait a bit due to the recent hit rate merchants slamming this under, but I really, really like the over here.
Did you just call them hit rate merchants?
Yeah, the recent hit rate merchants could be like, well, actually, he's going under his last 18 to 24
Is
games,
that how they
so we
talk,
have
too?
to hit the under here. Fucking bums. Yeah, go with the over.
Merchants? What is that? All right. Our poll is pretty split, by the way, 50%, 42%. We're going to talk some college football now. We got Brad, Thomas coming on, and Andy are here now. We're going to go through tonight's game first, and then there's 2 games we're going to talk about with Brad here, and then there's 2 more after that Scoop, I think, is going to come on for. I believe that's the plan. But first up, we're definitely doing App State, South Alabama, tonight's game. And I'll
So should I set the screen up for 3?
I don't know if Scoop's coming. I thought he was, but maybe not. Andy and they're both here now. So
All right. Okay.
but not a big deal if it's just a blank space on the screen. Doesn't really matter. So let's get these guys on the screen. Oh, here's Scoop here.
Scoop, you got a fan on or something? Oh, good.
All right.
Hey, that's crazy. I could hear his volume through my speaker, but not my headset. Wow.
Yeah, his mic is a little rough. When he turns his fan off, it gets better.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. Everyone just all right.
Good
So
call.
the first game up, and I'll go first on this one because I have a bet, and I wouldn't say I love the bet, but I do think I'm on the right side here. I laid the 7 with App State, and there's a lot of question marks we can bring forth with the App State defense, but the truth is those numbers are the numbers we're looking at for Appalachian State's defense this year are seriously skewed by that Clemson game. They gave up 700 total yards and 66 points against Clemson. Other than that, it hasn't been that bad. And I know hasn't been that bad isn't exactly very reassuring, but the truth is, on paper, Appalachian State should score, 70 points in this game? I mean, they run fast. They throw the shit out of the ball. This dude is nice as hell at home. Their last 4 home games, I think they average over 315 yards passing a game. South Alabama, this is a defense I don't trust against the run or the pass. They've been getting lit up through the air. Chandler Rogers, his first game of the season, his first game with a new team in a new system. He's never played on North Texas before, never played with those teammates, threw for 415 yards against South Alabama. This is a defense that lost, I think, 6 of the 7 starters in its defensive front 7. I don't like this South Alabama defense at all. Some people are big on this Gio Lopez kid at quarterback, and yeah, he does look cool. He's only got 1 career road start, and it was terrible last year on the road in Troy. Do I think App State's defense is going to show up? I don't really know, but I could see them forcing a turnover too. Basically, I laid the 7 here with App State. You put App State -7, prop Beaver. Because I don't know if South Alabama's defense makes a single stop in the game. So maybe Gio Lopez makes some plays, and maybe South Alabama puts up a 27, 28 on the scoreboard. I think App State's putting up a 40-piece. So I flirted with the over as well. I think there should be a ton of points in this game, but I felt more comfortable just laying the 7. I honestly thought it would move. I grabbed this early. I thought it was going to be at 7.5, 8. Pretty sure it's still sitting here, right? Let me check it. As of last night, it was still 7.5. I check it right now. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's still 7.5.
Yeah, it looks like, yep. You can still get 7 or 7.5. I honestly thought I would get CLV on this one, but it's all right. I'm on App State -7. Any of you guys want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm pretty much in lockstep. I agree with you 100%. Aguilar, big thing, he's been throwing so much better against zone. South Alabama is 19th in zone percentage so far this year, so that's something. Plus, they also haven't really faced an offense that necessarily throws the ball like this. We talked about teams that they've played. They played Ohio. We know how much they want to run the ball. Like, they have a really good running room. And then they played Northwestern State. So what are you really going to get from that one? So I don't think they've seen a passing attack like that, like this. And I think Aguilar's been really good. Plus, at home last year, Appalachian State's last 3 games, they averaged 44 points a game. And that was Aguilar at quarterback. So this offense at home is really, really hard to beat. I think it just comes down to South Alabama's going to get stopped a couple times, maybe once or twice. I think that's the difference, because I don't think Appalachian State's going to get stopped once, maybe once overall. Like, I think they're going to score almost every time they have the ball.
Agreed. 100% agreed. Brad, Scoop, either
Yep.
you guys have thoughts?
Yeah, I don't have a side or a total in this. I do like Aguilar passing over. His last I checked, his number was like 306, which is still good to me. He had 360 plus against East Tennessee, but that was more of a blowout. East Tennessee State, excuse me, and then 400 something against East Carolina. If you look at the numbers, South Alabama 115th defensive success rate against the pass. Oh, excuse me, it's way worse. 124th defensive success rate against the pass. They play with not the fastest splits between running and passing, but those numbers are still kind of skewed, I guess you would say. We're still only 3 games into the season, but they want to play fast. They want to throw the ball, and he's been playing pretty well. I think his number's like 307.5. If I want to just go off the top of my head, I still like it at that number. I played at 300 plus.
Yeah, and what you were saying, they went on the road and threw for, I think it was 424 at ECU. ECU is not an easy place to go and move the football. I mean,
No.
even when ECU has a bad team, that defense at home is still a problem. I mean, that one year, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, it was like a shitty year for ECU. They still almost beat NC State at home, and NC State still couldn't move the ball on them. So ECU at home is a respectable defense, and Aguilar just went in there and threw 424 yards. So yeah, I like that bet a lot. He should drop back to pass 40 plus times and get over that. Yep. Scoop.
Yeah, with all the turnover, I actually expected South Alabama's offense to struggle. That really hasn't been the case. Gio Lopez has been pretty good. But when you're looking at the stats, don't forget, a lot of these are from the Northwestern State game. But they played North Texas and Ohio tough too. It's their defense just can't get off the field, though. I mean, their run defense is surprisingly okay, decent. Opponents only have a 3.5 yards per attempt on their rushing game, but I feel like this App State's going to cover basically through the air. Joey Aguilar is one of the better Sun Belt quarterbacks. He calls a good game. The talent's definitely better for App State too, and I feel like they're going to do enough just because South Alabama just has one of the worst secondaries in the whole NCAA. And really, I'd pick the over here. I think that's a better bet personally. I mean, App State, while they have a little better pass defense or in the defense in general, they're not great by any means. I mean, and they played a tough defense in East Carolina. You just said it. I mean, and that's not even close to the defense they're going to face here. South Alabama is 115th in pass defense, and they basically have a new squad from last year. And I think this is just going to be a shootout with App State covering towards the end.
The reason, if I was going to go total, I probably would go App State team total over rather than the full game. I'm not willing to just accept that I was wrong. It's college football. Obviously, we go into the season, we look at all these teams, and we're going to be wrong about our assessments on a ton of them, right? Like, of course we are. I didn't think South Alabama's offense would be very good. It's looking like that might have been one of my L's, but I'm not willing to accept it yet. Like, I thought Wyoming would be good. I think it's time for me to accept that L. But I'm not willing to accept that this South Alabama offense is good yet. If they come in here and they play this shootout with App State and go back and forth, I'll take the L and say I was wrong about South Alabama's offense, but I'm not taking it yet. I would think I would go App State team total over rather than the full game to protect yourself from a Gio Lopez 2 interception game per se. All right, let's move on to the next one. And the next two, I'm pretty all ears here because I really don't have any strong leans either way. Lord BLT wanted to talk about these games. So I'm a spectator here. We're going Miami of Ohio, Notre Dame first, and then Purdue, Oregon State. So I'm just a listener.
Yeah, this is a fun game. Miami, Ohio, Notre Dame. As expected, the line has moved in favor of the Fighting Irish. Put on a beatdown of Purdue last week. And I'll be pretty frank, right? Like, the best part about being a bettor is admitting when you were wrong. I was wrong about that Northern Illinois game. Against Northern Illinois, it could have been a tough situation, right? Like, they go to Texas A&M, they win, and then they play against a Northern Illinois team who have heart, can score points, and they don't show up. I actually am going to play this two different ways here. The first way, I'm going to go ahead and take Miami, Ohio under 7.5 total points. And I gave this out, I think 8.5 earlier in the week, whatever the number was. It doesn't matter. It's like 8.5, 7.5. Just try not to take too much juice there. If you find a clean 7 for closer to even money, that's totally cool here. This is the Blaine Gabbert led Red Hawks team for Miami of Ohio. It's much different than what they saw against Northern Illinois. The defense started to settle in against Purdue, which was really nice for Notre Dame. Notre Dame still not at the level they want to be, right? They're 27th in defensive success rate. But more importantly, when you're talking about a team total, you want to look at things like net points per drive, EPA margin. And right now they're 5th in EPA margin on defense. Really good on third downs defensively, which means, and why that's important in this game is Blaine Gabbert's just not a good quarterback, in my opinion, right? Everyone has their own opinions. Not a good quarterback. He's not going to, do well against us with pressure in his face. Well, what's going to happen when they're not getting good chunk plays from the run game on first and second down? The weight's going to be on Blaine Gabbert's shoulders. I don't think he moves the ball well in this game. Then the other bet I'm going to take Notre Dame team total over 34.5 points. Ooh. Even if this becomes some kind of shootout or something along those lines, I actually like the points like taking the total points instead of the spread, because after the loss to Northern Illinois, Marcus Freeman has to give himself some room, has to give him some comfort for the committee to be like, this is still a playoff team. Look at these games that they played, just obliterated everyone. Well, we go Miami, Ohio, 117th on defensive success rate. EPA margins horrible against the run, which Notre Dame wants to do specifically. If they have success running the ball, especially success first and second down, I think they'll be able to march down the field and score a ton. So my 2 plays for this: Notre Dame team total over and Miami, Ohio team total under.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with the Red Hawks team total under there. I almost can't even believe this is coming from someone that's lost 2 bets on Miami of Ohio already this year. I took them plus the points against Northwestern, then I took them again plus the points against Cincinnati, and I can't even believe how bad Brett Gabbert looks at quarterback. I don't know what it looks like. He's regressed. He used to be a serviceable MAC quarterback. I don't know what's going on with that offense this year. They scored 6 points against Northwestern, 16 against Cincinnati, 9 against App State. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was the bowl game last year. They did that. But yeah, this offense just looks broken. I will say I'm still a believer in the Miami of Ohio defense. They did bring back 2 all-conference linebackers in the middle, going to be 1 and 2 on the team in tackles, and this was probably the best or one of the 2 best defenses in the MAC last year. So I would agree with the Miami team total under a little more so than the Notre Dame team total over. But if the Miami Ohio offense looks as bad as I expect it to, you can gift Notre Dame some points that way as well. So
yeah, short fields, which is really nice.
Yeah. So you can put Notre Dame minus the points up for me because I do like what he said about Marcus Freeman. He needs to score some points for the committee. Couldn't agree with that more. So if I was to bet it, I would go this way and just lay the 4 touchdowns. Scoop, Andy?
Yeah, I did bet this. I was an idiot last week. I think we all said Notre Dame was going to roll. Well, me and Andy did. I don't think either of us bet it.
I had Northern Illinois.
I don't think. No, against the Purdue game.
The Purdue game. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
that was easy.
Yeah, here I have a hard time thinking Miami's going to do anything offensively. Miami's team total, I actually had it under. It was at 7.5. I think it's juiced to minus 155 now, everywhere. So that's rough. And 6.5 is a hard number, but this Miami's offense is really bad. I mean, their passing game's okay. They're 51st in yards per pass, but they're 132nd in yards per carry. The problem is this team doesn't pass. They're just going to keep using that run. They're 125th in pass frequency. All they do is run. And Notre Dame in the country, they have they're 4th in the country in defensive rating, and teams are better running against them than throwing. But this Miami team literally has 1.4 yards per carry as a team. So I think it's the second worst in all of NCAA. No one's moving the ball against Cincy and Northwestern. So Miami's not moving the ball against Cincy and Northwestern. They're not going to move the ball against Notre Dame. And what's kind of funny is the opposite's happening on Notre Dame's offensive side of the ball. Miami's a better pass defense and rushing, but Notre Dame's going to run the ball like crazy here. Miami's defensive line's ranked one of the bottom 5 for rushing defenses. So Notre Dame, I feel like this is just going to be a blowout. Nothing's going to work. I don't think anything's going to work here for Miami. And Notre Dame already had 1 bad loss at home. I don't think it's going to happen again. I think this is just going to be a blowout.
Unfortunately, I think I agree. Andy?
Yeah, I wish that I was a little bit more stand on a soapbox, give a big speech about Notre Dame the other day, because I felt really good about that, but I didn't want to. I had other games that I felt better about, and those didn't turn out well. But yeah, this one, I mean, for Miami of Ohio, they're 5th in pass frequency, so they are throwing the ball, and it's all.
Hold on. Wait, I thought Scoop just said they're running.
Yeah, he had it on. I just looked. He had it on 2023. It's on 2023.
Oh, you had the spreadsheet on 2023 because I was gonna say, that's not what I thought.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
But either way, they can't run the ball for shit.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to put attention to it. I promise you, I was trying to.
That's okay. That's fine.
You were trying to show them up.
No, I wasn't. I swear. This is what I plan on saying. All they want to do is pass. This is one of the best secondaries in the country, Notre Dame. And Miami of Ohio literally can't run the ball. And then on the other side, they can't stop the run early on in the season. That's all Notre Dame wants to do, right? They only want to run the ball. Their first game of the season, Miami of Ohio, Mike Wright, the running quarterback for Northwestern, ran for 7.5 yards per carry, 65 yards. If he's doing that to you, I have a feeling Riley Leonard's going to do a pretty good job himself on that. And then the added part is, look, 2 weeks ago, they got embarrassed on their home field by Northern Illinois, a MAC school. Now you've got they know, right? They're not going to get caught sleeping here. They can't get caught sleeping, because if it happens again, it'll be one of the most embarrassing things to ever happen in school history. So I think all those things added together, I think the football matchup is ugly enough, but then add on the fact that this is a team that can't get caught sleeping. Their back's against the wall now. They have to win every single game, and they have to win every single game by a lot now. So yeah, I think Notre Dame's going to crush them this weekend.
Yeah, and if you remember, the run frequency last year makes sense, because remember, Gabbert got hurt. And then, what was his name? Avion Smith or Avion?
He the guy that transferred, right?
Yeah, he came in and all they did was run. That's why I remember that. All right, let's go on to the next game. And I have no idea what Brad's about to say here. I'm going to throw out what I'm leaning. Purdue upset in Corvallis. Andy disagrees. He hates Purdue. I don't know what Brad's going to say. I kind of want to take Purdue. Haven't bet it. Haven't even done a deep look. I didn't make a video about this game or anything. I took about a 10-minute look at it. This is where I think I want to be. I know Andy's going to disagree. Brad, what about you?
Yeah, so this is a number that I'm monitoring. I haven't placed the bet yet. I'm waiting to see how low we can go with the Oregon State spread. If money keeps coming in on Purdue, I'm going to be pro Oregon State. If the money goes the opposite way, I'll probably lean off. I think Oregon State rolls in this game. Unfortunately, they were in a bad situation against Oregon. I ended up betting Oregon a couple times at different live numbers. This Oregon State team, all they want to do is run, right? They want to run the ball. Javani McCoy is not at the level you want him to be as a P4, P5 quarterback. He's just not there yet, right? They were only able to run the ball with their top two backs a few times, like 16 times before the game started to get ugly. If you're a team that is like 115th in rush rate over expected, you're going to need to have either a close game or at least positive game scripts, and neutral game scripts or a lead. I think that happens. They're going against a Purdue team pretty bad against the run, but more importantly, I actually don't see a bounce back in Purdue in terms of, they're probably going to score a ton more points than they did last week, but I think they're overmatched. Hudson Card in this entire offense is something that I'm going to want to be fading this season. And I think in Corvallis, it's a tough situation. It's funny because both teams are coming off blowouts, right? But I think the positive aspect for which team is going to have that get back mojo is the team that is playing at home, not Purdue, who's like, shit, now we got to travel across the country after just getting our backs blown out. Let's try to turn this around. I'm going to trust the running game of Oregon State. I'm waiting for Jam Griffin's number to come out. He only carried the ball 7 times last week. And we might get some of that. Oh, he's not going to get a ton of carries from the sports books, and we'll put his number low. I'd probably say if it's like 52.5, somewhere around there, you got to take the over. I'd probably pass when you start getting close to like 62.
I don't know if I'm impartial on this though, because I like Ryan Walters. I'm a fan. Andy, I know you're going to be on the same side.
You and you're like the one, like there's like 5 of you in the country.
What he did, it doesn't get talked about enough what he did to that Illinois defense. That defense was 111th in the country the year before he took over. And his second year, his second year with the team, they were second. They were one of the best defenses in the country. He's a defensive genius, and his
defense looked really good the other day.
I have to hold on to the belief that Purdue's defense is going to show up at some point. I don't have any evidence to support it. I'm just holding on to the fact that Ryan Walters is a defensive genius, and he took this Purdue job last year. Year 2, he lost a lot of production, but now we're going to start to see his guys implemented into these positions. I think Purdue's defense is going to come around. But like I said, I'm being... I can't tell. I'm probably not being very objective here. And it's kind of speaking about what I think will happen rather than what the numbers indicate will happen. So I'm being honest about that. I think Purdue could upset. But Andy, I know for a fact you're going to be on Oregon State.
If I'm picking a side, I'm on Oregon State.
You hate Ryan Walters, that's why.
I don't hate Ryan Walters. This defense hasn't seen a pace like this year. Opponent pace against them is 102nd so far. Oregon State runs the 27th fastest pace in the country. They want to play fast. That's not something Purdue's necessarily ready for. and obviously the running game for Oregon State. I think they're going to get a lot done. They played a pretty good first half against Oregon. It obviously fell off a cliff, but I think I personally expected that from Oregon. I think everybody kind of did. At some point, they were going to have that half of football that they figured it out. They needed to. And for Purdue, I think this offense is just awful. I don't think that this team has I think their defense has talent. I don't think the offense does. The offense couldn't do anything last week. I know it was Notre Dame, but I just don't see it. I said it before that game. I don't like Hudson Card. I don't think he's particularly good. They're good at run blocking, but they're not trying to run the ball, so their pass blocking sucks, so they're getting a ton of pressure, and he's not very good under pressure. He's not very good he's good when he's clean, but he's not good under pressure. So just overall, I mean, I don't think this offense can do anything. So I'd lean under too. I'd lean under and Oregon State.
Yeah, speaking of a team that got absolutely destroyed, I think this is going to be this all season. I don't really like Purdue. I don't count their first game against Larry Bird's Indiana State team or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Actually, I'm sad he's on St. Louis now, Kareem. So we're gonna, I just really think their offensive line is going to be completely garbage all year. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Hudson Card anyway, but with Purdue's offensive line becoming a turnstile is going to be rough all year. I mean, Purdue's really a hard team to bet though here. I mean, 2 blowouts on both sides. They won the first game and got blown out the next. And I mean, McCoy didn't really have a bad game. They just weren't doing enough down the field against Oregon. Oregon's defense really stepped up in the second half, but Oregon State did have 19 first downs. I mean, they were 7-15 on third down. They had more time of possession. They just couldn't capitalize anything. Plus, I mean, their defense let them down, which is understandable. It is Oregon. I mean, they were due for a breakout game. So I just like this offense and defense more on the Oregon State side. Plus, it's Purdue's first road game. So, I mean, in Corvallis is a tough place to play. So I'm going to lean Oregon State.
I just looked up the talent composite here according to 247 and 24/7, and look, I don't know how accurate these numbers are, but according to this, Purdue number 37 in the country with 24 stars, and Oregon State number 73 in the country with 6. So
yeah,
but Florida State has tons of
Oregon State
stars.
losing players when Smith left, so it makes sense.
I like Purdue, man. I don't know. I gotta take a closer look. Maybe I'll
take a closer look into the game, and you'll be like, "Holy smokes!"
I might, but I will take a closer look because the truth is, I do want to take Purdue money line here. But all right, next up. Oh, Brad, you said you had the roll after this one, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks for coming by, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Soon. Make sure you guys give him a follow, by the way. That's his Twitter name right there. I tagged him in the tweet, so if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see his name tagged right there. So appreciate you coming on, man.
See you guys.
All right, we got 2 more games to do. Prop Beaver's back.
Hey.
He goes, oi.
It is Talk Like a Pirate Day.
He wasn't expected to be on the screen.
At least he was presentable.
He's in the same room as us.
He's usually with a shirt. He usually has a shirt off when he's on screen.
He's in the same room as us. He better be presentable.
Dr. House.
You still have his name as Dr. House.
No, I didn't change it for this one. I didn't expect a 3-piece braid with this one. I'll get a better name next time.
All right, we're going to do 2 more games. Obviously, Saturday morning we'll go through. We have 29 lined up. And this is another one where I'm kind of all ears. I feel like I've seen some sharps on Houston here. Is that you? Oh, I thought. Never mind. I feel like that's the side where the sharp money's coming on. I have no idea. I kind of want to take Cincinnati. I'm not a buyer on Donovan Smith. I feel like putting your faith in Donovan Smith, especially on the road, is just not a wise investment.
I'm not really putting stock into Donovan Smith. I'm more into the Houston defense. I mean, it's hard to trust this Houston team. I did pick them last week over Rice, but it looks like Rice is just a complete shit team. So
I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, Houston didn't really do a ton offensively. They didn't really need to. Rice had 2 turnovers, 8 first downs, 150 yards. So Rice is garbage. But I mean, Houston's defense looks to be great. I mean, since the Oklahoma game 2 weeks ago, going into Rice, going and play against Rice. I mean, like I said, I don't know about Rice, but Yeah, I'm going to grab points with Houston just because of that. I feel like this should be a pretty low-scoring game on both sides. I mean, this is really just a bad offense in Houston going against a bad defense in Cincy. And on the other side, a good offense in Cincy going against a good defense in Houston. I know Houston's a little banged up. They just lost 3 players last game for the season. They lost one of their linemen for the season, Kobe White, the wideout. Donovan Smith can't throw anyway, but and Cobajel, the linebacker. But Cincy doesn't look great. I mean, they didn't look great against Miami, Ohio last game. They had that pit loss, or they should have won. But I think Houston has a chance to win this outright. This is kind of payback from last season where Cincy won their only Big 12 game. It was against Houston. As long as Donovan Smith doesn't have to do much here, I think Houston's defense is going to keep the minutes. So,
Andy?
I agree. I'm on Houston. I think this sets up well for Donovan Smith. He's been awful, but we all know that he's at least better than what he's been. He's been terrible so far this year, but it sets up well. He throws better against zone. Cincinnati runs a lot of zone, and on the other side, yeah, the defense has been really good for Houston. Don't know how much of that is because of the schedule, because they did play UNLV, who only runs the ball. So I don't know how good their pass defense actually is, but it's been fine, and they're used to fast paces. Their opponent pace is 17th. Cincinnati runs 23rd, so like it sets up well for the offense and the defense, in my opinion. And also, we've seen Houston play a couple of good games. I mean, they played Oklahoma, and granted, they didn't score much. They looked really good in that game. I think it was more them looking good than Oklahoma looking bad. And we've seen Cincinnati at their worst, and their defense is really bad. So I think that they can do just enough. Donovan Smith has to be better, and I think he will be. So I think it sets up well, Houston.
I don't think these Houston defensive numbers can be trusted. Let me rephrase. I don't trust Houston's defense against the run. You said you don't trust their defense against the pass.
Well, no, I agree. I don't trust them against the run. I don't trust the pass numbers, though, because one of their game was against UNLV, and they don't throw the ball. Yeah,
Sluka's a dog, bro. All right. Going into this season, when we did our preseason preview of Cincinnati, I said I thought this team was going to be able to run the ball. They brought back a ton of production on the offensive line. They liked their RB room. Sorsby was a little bit, I don't want to say a question mark, but I didn't really know what I thought of Sorsby at quarterback. It's not really what we've seen. They're 47th in pass frequency, so they've come out throwing the ball, running a fast pace. Not exactly the football I thought we'd see Cincinnati playing. Scott Satterfield's an unpredictable creature. I think they're going to get back to their roots and run the football in this one, and I'm not sure Houston could consistently get their defense off the field. Like I said, I expect Cincinnati's offensive line to win their battles. Houston's defensive line is. Did you look at their pass rush? Excuse me, their pass rush numbers. They're 132nd in the country in pass rush win rate.
Yeah.
I think Cincinnati's the better team here. It would be Cincinnati. I'm not betting this though.
I like Kiner as the running back for Cincy. If they actually use him.
That's what I'm saying is they have the running back. They also have another running back they like too. They have 2 RBs they like. The offensive line should be a huge step forward from last year. Put me on the other side, Prop Beaver. Put me on the Cincinnati
side. I feel like this total is just too big, personally, too.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati, we finally see them run
the ball. I just think it's an ugly game.
Yeah, the games, I let these guys pick out. Well, Scoop picked these 2, and Brad picked the first 2. The games picked out weren't exactly my favorite on the board today for today's live show. But, all right, I'll be back same time tomorrow. We'll do the MLB.
More, my friend.
Three college games tomorrow.
There's one more,
shit, Arizona State. Oh, okay. Andy, we go Red Raiders?
Yeah, I like the Red Raiders at home here. I think it's just a good matchup. This is now the 4th time, I think.
Why is there no up next in the bottom left?
I have no clue why there was no
have to
up
look at
next
that,
for that individual one.
Yeah, for specific games, it's like that. We'll fix that. Yeah, Arizona State, I've gone against them 3 times now. They're 3-0 against the spread. Yeah, I'm 0-3 going against them.
So am I.
Yeah, I'm going to take one more shot here. Morton's really a pretty good quarterback. I mean, seeing what they did to North Texas the other day, I had the over in that game. That was a joke. They had that by halftime. They're going to be able to throw the ball. I don't care how good your defense is. I think that Texas Tech is going to be able to throw on you. And the worst unit on the Arizona State defense is the pass defense. They can stop the run. That's just not something Texas Tech even wants to do. They don't want to run the ball. They're 13th in pass frequency, 4th in pace. So they want to get up quick and throw. That doesn't suit Arizona State very well. And then on the defensive side, defensively, their effective rush number is 9th because they haven't they've faced some decent running teams, but the teams that don't necessarily run it a lot. And that's all Arizona State's doing. They are running the ball, and they're not even giving Sam Levitt a chance. I mean, he doesn't really need one. They've been running the ball so well. I'm just going to go with on the road. They're not going to get the running game going quite as well as they have so far in their home games. So, yeah, it's a lean for me. I don't love it, but, yeah, Texas Tech would be the play here at home.
Yeah, same side. I haven't placed the bet yet because I believe Texas Tech has a lot of injury concerns. Their injury report last week was significant, and that was, you know what though, maybe I should ignore it because I liked Texas Tech a lot last week. I didn't place it because of the injury concerns. I know everyone was coming in on North Texas. I was like, no, Texas Tech is going to beat the hell out of these guys, but I didn't place it because of the stupid injury reports. They ended up winning by a lot. They beat the hell out of North Texas, and I feel like we might see the same. I think Texas Tech might win by margin here, honestly. Arizona State, they wowed us a little bit, right, in the beginning of the season. That last win, I had Texas State, and I lost, fading Arizona State in their last game. Beating Texas State by 3 points isn't exactly moving the needle for me. Like, congrats, you beat a Sun Belt program. This is Texas Tech and Lubbock, and if they think they're just going to come into to Lubbock and hand the ball off to Scadaboo and run their way to a win here, I don't think they're going to be in for a rude awakening. I mean,
they're not even giving it to Scadaboo enough either. So
yeah, well, it wasn't really working. They were struggling to get Scadaboo going against Texas State. This is Texas Tech. This is an entirely different type of beast here. So, like I said, the reason I haven't placed it is there are some concerns here as far as Texas Tech goes on the injury front, and that information is so hard to get. Like, if you want to try to figure out who's playing and who's not playing for college football, good luck, man. So I'll try to do some more reading, see if I can find some beat writers, something. But as long as Texas Tech has a respectable injury report, if it's less than a field goal, this is, in my opinion, this is the side to be on.
It's hard to find even who's playing quarterback on some of these games until it starts. It's like ridiculous.
Real quick before Scoop goes, about what you just said about Scadaboo, he was supposed to be the backup, and Rakeem Brown was supposed to be the starting running back. And last week was Brown's first game. So they had Scadaboo as like the backup in that game. Technically, he wasn't taking starter carries. Brown's hurt again, so Scadaboo is the starter again. So I think he could get back to what he was doing against Mississippi State and against Wyoming because he's now the number one back again. Just mention that.
Scoop.
Yeah, people are looking at the Texas Tech team and thinking their defense is really, really bad, and that's how it started against Abilene Christian. But week to week, they've been getting better and better. Washington State, they actually outgained them. They should have, they just shot themselves in the foot that game, and then they're gonna give up 21 to North Texas, which is pretty good. I know we've been up. I know we've been on the wrong side of Arizona State. I think it's hard to find. I find it hard to believe that they're going to be 4-0 personally. This is definitely going to be their toughest test. I think even with those blowout games, I think this is going to be their toughest side on the defensive side of the ball.
Hell yeah.
This year. So Morton's been really solid through 3 games, and it's mostly because their offensive line is protecting him well. That won't be great with an Arizona State line who has been a difficult time getting to the quarterback. Plus, Morton, I think, is a way better quarterback than Levitt. Levitt has a problem throwing into zone coverage. Tech runs a zone more than man-to-man, and Levitt's in the bottom 20 of throwing into a zone right now. So I'm not saying Tech's good at defending a zone, but it's going to be difficult for Levitt to throw the ball. They should run the ball more with Scadaboo, but I'm going to go with the better quarterback here at home, and I'm going to lay the points for sure.
Yeah, and Baron Morton, yes, you're right, significantly better than Levitt as far as being a thrower. And I always said since last year, when can you back Baron Morton? When can you count on him to show up? At home in Lubbock against a bad team. If you want to, a couple weeks, we'll see Baron Morton go on the road to Kansas State in Manhattan. Fade him. He's going to suck. But at home against a bad team, Morton could actually look like a serviceable Big 12 quarterback. So let's go ahead and get the underdog fantasy. Pick him out of the way and get the hell out of here. Andy?
So
it's prop beavers. I'm
the
sorry.
NFL leg of the two-part pick'em is Ramondre Stevenson, higher than 14.5 receiving yards. They didn't have the receptions, I'm assuming, because that got juiced up. So we're just going to roll with the 14.5 receiving yards. I think he could get 4+ receptions in this ball game. So 15 receiving yards should be a breeze. And then, Andy, why do you like Mr. Gio Lopez lower than 262.5 passing yards?
Well, I'll tell you. So, Gio Lopez, we talked about it. He only has played one road game in his career, and it was not good. It was against a good Troy defense, but now he's playing a road game in Appalachian State. Tough place to play. And it's a defense we expect a lot more from. A lot of their numbers are being ruined by their game against Clemson. Clemson was angry that day. We expect this defense to be much better. So a road game for a young quarterback against a good team. So, yeah, I expect him to go under.
Compelling to say the least. We got CeeDee Lamb free pick for all underdog customers if you want a free square, so that's beautiful right there. And then also we got underdog free pick for new customers. Aaron Rodgers, the old man himself, over a half total yard. So if you want to pair that with our underdog that we just created and add a third leg, go right ahead. Aaron Rodgers over a half total yard. And if you don't have an underdog, sign up today and you can get up to $1,000 cash deposit match. Just use the promo code BET, B-E-T, BET. That is able to sign up in one of these eligible states in yellow. Woo!
That voice is freaking crazy. So yeah, same back 4 p.m. tomorrow. MLB first, NFL, college football. We'll figure it out. I'll let you know. So yeah, everyone have a good night. Let's go Jets. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Oh wait, too late. You clicked end.
I didn't.
Oh, okay. If you didn't, go submit your league picks now if you're getting in on the league this week. And as far as the open bets, I don't have the Jets bet on there. I may add it. If I do, it'll be something small.
My Ramondre bet's on there.
Oh, so yeah, prop beaver. You could look at.